Hi, my name is Lorelei. I'm a childcare associate at the Casco Bay branch of the Southern Maine YMCA, and today we're going to have some fun with paper marbling and watercolors. Let's get started. Alright, for this project you're going to need a trash bag or any plastic tablecloth that'll cover your surface. You're going to need some shaving cream, any kind, a thick piece of cardboard, various papers to try out, and some food coloring or inks if you have it. You're also going to need a paper clip or toothpick or something to make a kind of pointed stylus. With the paper clip, you're going to open it up, and that tip is what we're looking for specifically. So get creative. All right, let's clean this all up and get ready to start. All right, to start, we're going to open up our trash bag. Honestly, if you're working on a kitchen countertop like marble or something, you don't need to use this, but I'm working on a raw wood surface and I don't want to stain it by accident, so I'm just going to put down a plastic bag to be safe. So once you have our plastic bag out and it is all set, you can tape it down if you need to. We are going to start with the shaving cream. So grab your can of shaving cream and we are just going to make a box. Can be any size. I usually try to make my box a little bit bigger than the paper. And just fill in that box. If there's any big gaps, you can fill them in, but don't worry too much about that. All right, now we're going to take that thick piece of cardboard. Here, I'll straighten this out so you can see it better. All right, take that thick piece of cardboard and just scrape it across the top. And you can scrape that excess shaving cream into the trash can or to the side. All right, let's get to marbling. So you're gonna take your food coloring or ink. I happen to have yellow, blue, and green, and I'm gonna choose some blue to start. So we're just going to take that cap off and put a couple dots all around. Doesn't really matter, you can always add more, but I think that's enough for now. Now you're going to take that toothpick or paper clip or whatever you found. So now we're just going to swirl around on the top. We don't want to poke through to the table, we just want to go across the top just like a feather. Just drag that slowly across the top. All right, so now we're just gonna take that and drag this ink all around. You can go in any direction. You can make small circles, you can make big circles, you can make figure eights, whatever you wanna do. I don't believe there's too much or too little marbling that you can do in this process. And if you wanna add more dots, you can do that, but I think this is plenty to start with. All right, I think that's enough. So we can take our paper clip or toothpick and just set it aside. We're gonna grab our first piece of paper. So I just have a small piece of printer paper, nothing fancy, and I'm gonna lay it on the top. I do not want to press it down hard, so I'm just gonna lay it there, and I'm not going to press down with my hands. I'm just gonna use my fingertips and lightly tap all around. Now you'll start to see that design showing through. We're just gonna keep tapping, and then gently pull it up. There we go. So sometimes you'll see this great design right away, and sometimes there'll be a whole sheet of shaving cream on top, and that is okay, don't worry about it. So now that we have that done, we're gonna set it aside to dry, and we're gonna do some more. So I'm gonna pick some green. I'm gonna make some dots all around. So now the blue and the green will show up in my next one. So let's swirl that around and try this again. When you are satisfied with that, let's grab another piece of paper. This time I'm gonna grab a thicker piece. So this is like a painter's paper. It's similar to a watercolor. It is textured and a little thicker. So we'll try this out too. Let's gently lay it on top again, and just with our fingertips, touch all around. You're not going to see that design come through on this because the paper is a little too thick for that, but you're still going to get a beautiful design on the back. So when we pull this up, again, there is our design. It looks great. So we'll put that aside to dry. And now if you want to change colors, so if I start adding yellow to this, they might mix in a way I don't want them to right now. So I just want to do some yellow. So you're going to take your shaving cream and just put another layer right on top of what you've already done. So instead of cleaning up everything and starting over, we're just going to add layers until we're all done. So let's fill in those gaps and grab that thick piece of cardboard we had earlier and just again drag it across the top so we have a nice even surface to work with. There we go. Alright, I have one more experiment to try out with this paper marbling. So I'm going to add a couple more colors and then use something other than normal paper. I do know this process works on wood, and I'm sure it could work on some ceramic materials and cardboard, and just have some fun and experiment. So let's add some colors and I'll show you what I have. Alright, so I have these envelopes lying around, and I thought it would look cool to do something right across the top. So I'm going to open this up, and I don't want it to go onto the front side of the envelope, so I'm going to have to protect that. So I happen to have some painter's tape lying around. It's the same stuff I used in my last video during weaving. And I'm just going to take some of that and put it on my envelope. Alright, so now that that surface is covered, my marbling will only show up on the top and not the bottom. So let's dip that in just like we did the paper and just carefully tap all across. And when I pull it up, there we go. I think that's going to look awesome. Alright, there is one more step we have to do. So I'm going to clear away some of this stuff and then we can get started on that. Okay, for this we are going to need that thick piece of cardboard that we had before and just clean it all off. I'm going to grab the first piece I did, lay it in front of me, and I'm going to scrape all the extra shaving cream right off. So I'm going to hold it with one hand and the other I'm just going to scrape it right off. There we go. We can scrape off that excess shaving cream in the trash can or the side of our table. Sometimes there's a little bit extra lying around. But there we go. This piece is a little bit wet for now, so we'll let it dry, but that's what it looks like when all the shaving cream is off. So it looks like this yellow piece streaked a little bit when we scraped the cardboard across, so it makes these little streak marks, but that's okay. I don't mind it too much. So if you let it dry a little longer, you won't get those marks. Alright, this is what our finished piece looks like. I am really excited about it. I think it looks great. I had a whole lot of fun with this. And also, make sure you wash your hands afterwards because the food coloring will stain a little bit, but don't worry, it's going to come out. Alright, for this next project, we're going to be making watercolor splotches. They're just kind of fun, abstract shapes that you can make. So for this, you're going to need a plastic bag, some paper towels, a cup of water, a paintbrush, and some paper. I recommend using something a little thicker than printer paper, but printer paper can work. This is a textured watercolor paper that I'm using today. We are going to try 2 different versions of this today. One is with markers. I am using these markers. I think I paid $4 for the whole pack, but honestly, Crayola markers or anything you have lying around is perfectly fine. This is a Crayola watercolor set. Again, nothing fancy, just use what you have. Or if you want, you could water down some food coloring and that'll work as well. First, we are going to try out the markers. So pick whatever color marker you want to start out with. I'm just going to grab this pink because it's the first one sitting there. If there's a thicker end, you're going to use that one. And you are going to color all around on your plastic bag. And notice how I'm not coloring straight down. I'm using the side of the marker so I can get some nice thick lines on there. I'm going to switch it up and use a couple different colors. I'm going to also use this blue. You might want to think about what it's going to look like when your colors mix together. Some colors might not look the best mixed together, but you can always experiment and try this as much as you want. Alright, I'm going to do a little purple as well. Alright, that looks good, so I'm going to take my paintbrush and I'm going to put it in my cup of water now. Make sure it's nice and wet because I'm going to let it drip all over my plastic bag. If you happen to have a spray bottle and some water, that works perfectly fine. You can give it one good spray and then you're all set. But for now, I'm just going to drip a bunch of water all over that. You're going to have to experiment on how much water you want versus how much marker. So this is a big experimental process that you can have lots of fun with. Now that we're all done with that, we're going to pick up our plastic bag. This process can be a little messy, so if you want to lay down some newspaper, that is a great idea, or you can also cut open a trash bag like we did earlier. Now we're going to carefully flip over our plastic bag. This might get a little messy, that's okay. We're going to place it down on the paper. Now you're going to swirl around all over that. When you're all done, just lift up the plastic bag. We'll put it aside, and there's your finished piece. If you want to start another piece, you can grab your paper towels and just wipe off the excess ink that's there. You can keep reusing this same plastic bag over and over again until you're all done. Alright, here's one more way to do this. We're going to start with the paper that you have and our water, and just put drops of water all over your paper. Here, let's get a closer look at that. So I'm not dragging my paintbrush across the whole paper, I am just putting dots all over. When you have enough dots, we can start to use the watercolor. Make sure you add lots of water to your colors, just like this. And I'm just going to keep mixing around until there's plenty. Alright, that looks good. So now I can start putting dots of our colors all around. Sometimes I like to add color to the water drops that are there, but I'm just adding drops all around. Maybe I'll do some different colors. Remember, these colors might mix, so think about what colors go well together. I really like to do yellow, orange, and red because I like the way all those colors mix together. When you're all done with that, we're going to take our plastic bag and stick it right on top. And now we're just going to swirl around like we did before. And we're just going to keep mixing around until all those colors blend together. If you notice lots of dots, it might be because the watercolor sat there for too long or because there's not enough water. Just like that, let's try it again. If you notice that the watercolor is pooling up in one area, just tip it around until that mixes in with the rest of it. Great job, everyone. They look amazing. When you're all done with your watercolor swatches, I personally like to write thank you notes on them or other notes to loved ones. It's a really fun way to make a nice, pretty note, and I'm going to put it in my envelope and send it off to somebody. So thank you for joining me today. I had so much fun. See you next week.